Hello, my name is Jared Foster, and today I'll be giving a big talk on how medical cannabis could help football players with injuries. As you can see through this slide, throughout the seasons and throughout the years of the National Football League, concussions are one huge part of injuries, and they have lingering effects from things like CTE to other effects that hurt people in the long run. Medical cannabis is something that has been suggested that many players should take or use in a controlled substance, but Roger Goodell, commissioner of the NFL, feels very strongly that this should not be allowed during this time. Today I will be talking and convincing and educating you guys on why he is wrong. Allowing medical cannabis in the NFL would go a long way. The NFL is a very gruesome league. It's a tackle football sport, and every single day in practice and every game on Sunday or Thursday or Monday, these players are lining up and putting their careers on the line. Every hit to the leg, to the arm, to the knee can have a lingering effect on these guys for longer than they even know. One bad hit and these guys could be gone for the rest of their career. Have you ever gone to a game on a Sunday or Monday and realized why is your favorite player not playing, or why is the star receiver not playing? Maybe because these medications they're giving them currently are just not strong enough, or they're not working. Hopefully we have found a solution and can convince the league that medical cannabis is the right answer. This is very important for athletes themselves and for the league. Even though the NFL is an amazing league, at the end of the day, it's still a company that makes money through TV rights, through jersey sales, through concessions. Since Madden has been created, they have sold many copies, bringing in over $100 million. What do you think would happen if you took someone like star wide receiver Calvin Johnson, and who was the cover and the face of the video game, and he stopped playing because of his injuries, and he felt like he was at a disadvantage by not getting proper treatment? This would be at a loss for fans, for the team, for the organization as a whole, and the league. This is something that cannot continue to take place, because we are going to see more and more injuries as time goes on, and the league needs to finally step in and make a proper stance on this. This is extremely important for the NFL, not from just a business standpoint, but also for the standpoint of the players in the next generation. Today in California, story I will tell, today in California, a lot of middle schools and lower schools have stopped allowing tackle football to people at this age. They feel very strongly that it is not good for people's bones and bodies at that age to be taking these kind of hits. And a lot of parents are holding their kids out of sports. And if we continue on this trend, the NFL will grow to become less and less popular, and will have much less high-level competition on this end. There is a resolution. In order to fix this, what we can do is we can allow these new studies that say that we should try medical marijuana for these professional athletes who have to wake up every single day and take gruesome hits as their job. From a fan's perspective, it might be a big hit or a nice hit, or a good defensive play for that matter. At the end of the day, these are people's lives that are on the line. And from the perspective of the NFL, I think that they should allow this, or at least test it out, just because prolonging these players' careers should be a much bigger priority to them. The NFL brings in close to $25 billion per year between the Super Bowl and its viewers every single week, including jersey sales. The NFL needs to do a much better job protecting their athletes and helping prolong their careers. If it's one simple fix, such as allowing test trials for medical cannabis and marijuana to see if this can help heal players, then this is something that needs to be done. Every Sunday, if you show up to the stadium and the star quarterback or running back for your team is out and not playing, how likely are you to go again? This is something that is extremely disappointing and not what the players or the fans want. If this can be treated and solved, and it can help players stay in better shape physically and help them medically with their injuries, this is something that we need to put into effect immediately. NFL currently has not budged. Right here on the screen, we have star player for the Cowboys, David Irving. David Irving was more than just a regular player. He was a star on the Dallas Cowboys in his prime, who's been fighting injuries his whole entire career. To try and get around these injuries and help him go to work every day and be the person that he needs to be on the field, Irving went against the rules and smoked medical marijuana, and he thought that it helped increase his nerves, his performance, and the way his body was working, just based off all the gruesome hits he was taking and giving to other players. One day, after being caught by the NFL and losing an appeal, Irving was not only suspended but fined a lot of money. After trying to fight an appeal, Irving was unsuccessful. As a result, Irving has decided to take a stand against the league and just quit the NFL altogether. While this may be a bit extreme, this is an example of what will happen if players are feeling like they're being cheated and used and not given the proper tools and medicines to put them on the field every Sunday. Because if they're going to show up and do everything on their end and they feel like there's something out there that could be helping them more, they're going to want to get that approved. If the NFL could work with these scientists who have discovered everything about medical cannabis and how it relates to players and how it could relate to injuries, it would be very beneficial for many reasons. One story I'll tell is about someone I spoke about earlier, Calvin Johnson. Just a few years ago, Calvin Johnson was the face of the NFL. He was the top jersey seller. He was on every commercial on Sunday. He was on the cover of Madden, and after many, many years of playing, Calvin Johnson came out and said that he was retiring, and it had to do with the rules that the NFL had in place about medical marijuana. Calvin actually came out and said, even though it wasn't allowed, that smoking medical marijuana before big games or before practice when he would get hit a bunch was something that he did do often and felt that it helped him a lot. And if it wasn't for that, he wouldn't have even played for as long as he could. Calvin Johnson went on to retire at around 29 years old. The average age to retire for an NFL player is around 32 or 33. Calvin, being an NFL All-Star and the face of the league at the time, could have played until maybe 37 or 38 years old. And it's just a bad look from a player's perspective, because if you're a young player and you're up and coming, you want to know that your league is going to be able to help you. And in this instance, it wasn't. It was a wasted talent, and it was really unfortunate situation. And from a league standpoint, you want to make sure that your players are safe, and sometimes it's okay to take a risk to make sure that their bodies heal. And in this case, many studies show that your bodies can heal quicker from this. Lastly, I'd like to say the NFL is a very big platform with a huge following, as we spoke about earlier. And if they can be leaders in this field and take the initiative, then maybe the NBA and the NHL and the MLB and tennis and all these other great sports would follow along, and everyone would be able to find a happy medium somewhere down along this line. Thank you so much for listening to my stand and my take today about why medical cannabis should be allowed in the NFL and hopefully other sports as well.